In this video, we will see how to build a small web scraping application where you can enter any keyword. For instance, let's say headphones, and press scrap. It will open up a window here, scrap window. It will automatically enter the search whatever you gave. It will change the page. If you notice here, the pages are changing, and for each page it will process the results, fetch the data, and it will save it. So basically it searched it. You can export it, and now export has happened. If you check the export that has happened, this is what we got. This is basically a 3 semicolon delimited file. So you get the image, you get the title, and you get the price of each of these values. And for the headphones in Amazon.ae, all the values that are present are now retrieved. Using this, you can go ahead and do a processing, something like this. You can process the images. This is the web mining. You can do a web mining like this. With the images, we can see and compare them with all the different values. So by the end of this video, you will be able to do something like this. And I have tried my best to keep it as simple as possible and entertaining at the same time. Hello there, welcome back. In this video, we will be building an Amazon web scraper. What is a web scraper? Web scraper in technical terms means that it is a software tool like a bot which will be extracting the data from any website and providing the results to you in a structured way that you need. Why do we need a web scraper? Let's take Amazon for example. Amazon website is owned and developed by the Amazon company, of course, and they will be having their own database. Maybe they will be providing the database to you via an API, or maybe not. But in case you want to access their database, currently the only way is to use their web front end, which is nothing but their website. So you will be using their website and doing the search terms, doing the page navigations to fetch the data from their website. But those websites or those data can only be accessed from their website. If you want to make some create some actionable insights, for instance, you want to compare some data from their website, you want to prepare a presentation and show it to your company that you are going to buy XYZ product. In those cases, the only option that you are left with is to copy the data from their website and then putting them into a PowerPoint or an Excel or whatever. The use cases might differ, but the only way to fetch the data from their website is manually copying them, copying the prices and copying the link, pictures, everything, and then structuring them in a different place for your creating your actionable insights. Now, there are a lot of issues to it. Today you might be spending 4 or 5 hours to get the data from the Amazon website or Netflix or whatever it is, and tomorrow the prices might change, tomorrow the images might change. Again, you need to do all those kind of copying the data and processing them. So this is where web scraping comes to help. The main benefit of web scraping is you can fetch the data even though you don't have the access to the database behind the website. You can fetch the data from any website that you want, and you can store them in a structured manner that will be helpful for you. And there is one more term which is widely used, which is called as web mining or data mining. The difference between web scraping and web mining is that web scraping means it's the way of extracting the data, just fetching the data from a website. It does nothing more, nothing less. It just fetch the data and that's it. When you are processing the data, preparing meaningful insights and getting the results from the data, that is web mining or data mining. So web scraping is a part of web mining. You first scrap the data and then you act upon the data. You process the data and act upon it. So that's the difference between web mining and web scraping. In this video, we will be building a web scraping tool in C#. I think I will be using WPF to build the desktop application. So let us begin. So our main goal in this video is to open Amazon website, search for a keyword, fetch all the data based upon the results that are shown to us, and navigate to the next page, and then repeat step 2 to 4. So open, search, fetch, navigate, and then repeat. Before we start coding the application, let us open Amazon to see how it is. Since I'm located in the Middle East, in UAE to be exact, I have access to Amazon.ae. Let me try if we have access to Amazon.com. Okay, I have Amazon.com, but I'm from UAE, right? So it doesn't. It's asking me whether I want to stay here or go to Amazon.ae. What I will do now, the content, the process, everything is going to be the same. So I will go to Amazon.ae and I will process it here, and we will build the application. And when you are building the application for your requirement, you will be building it as per your need. Before we begin building, there is an important note. The main takeaway from this video should be the process involved in building. So you should only be focusing on how we are searching the keywords, how we are setting up the HTML, how we are selecting the HTML elements. So the process is what you should focus on. Do not depend upon the exact selector keywords that I'm using, because we are going to build a scrapper for an external website, Amazon.ae, which we do not own, which we do not have control over. So within a week, or maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, the whole interface might change, all the selectors might change, the complete application might be changing, and our scrapper bot will not work. So the main goal from this video should be focus on how we are doing it step by step. So tomorrow, if the website changes, it will be easy for you to redo it from scratch. So let's do a search. I will search for headphones, and the moment I search for headphones, it's giving me some results, and you could see that the pagination is not here. I need to, it's showing me different results. Recently I purchased this, what is this, iClever headphone for my son, so it's showing up here. Buy it again. And if I get down, it's showing me so much results. Get on. Oh, finally there it is. It's going to give me the navigation bar as well. And it's also showing me a lot of other things. Here something, some grocery items or add. So many things are here. But our goal is we need to build a bot which should be able to locate this search box, enter the keyword that we need, and press this search button and wait for the results to load. And after the result is loaded, just differentiate between all these things. There are so many items here. Just differentiate and find out which exactly is the result, and from the result get my image, title, maybe the reviews and the star, and the price, and the delivery time maybe. So these are the information that I need from here. And after this is all done, go down, go to the next page, and until we reach the last page, just do this process again and again and get me the results. Now there are this is going to be a very simple web scrapper, so it should give you a lot of other ideas. Once you are able to build this one, you should get so many ideas and add more features to it. Now that we have seen the requirement in detail, first and foremost thing, press F12 in your Chrome or Firefox or Edge or whatever it is. You need to open up your let's see, inspection tool. You can do F12 to open it, or you can right click and press inspect. You can do either of the two. And now here we go. This is going to give me this page. Maybe you might have seen this before. And since you are here to learn how to program, how to code this, I'm going to assume that you already have an idea of what these things, so I will not spend time on explaining them. And the most important thing here is what is the skill that is required for us. The only skill that we need is to understand how an XML works. I'm not talking about HTML, I'm just talking about XML. If you are used to XML, you know the hierarchies. XMLs will be having element name, and then they will have different attributes, and they will have children inside. So HTML is like a form of XML only, so it should be easy to process it if you already know XML. The reason why I'm talking about XML is we are going to build a WPF application as desktop bot application. So I'm just assuming that you are new to the web development, but in case you are already well versed in web development, HTML and everything, you can just go ahead and start watching the video. Now, first thing here, when you open up your inspection window, you have two items here. One is called as selecting the elements, and this one is for making your window look making your website mobile friendly, or you're changing the dimensions of the window to see how it will look in case of a mobile or a tablet or other devices. You can select the device here, but our focus is not for mobile devices. Our focus is only for the desktop and the browser version. So let it be like this, and press this button, which will give you the ability to select a particular item. First, let me select this button here, search, because this is where we need to enter. So when I select it, it's giving me, for time being, I will close this console. I will also close this. Oh my god. Okay, so this is what we need. We need an input. If you see here, if I select the division element, again it is containing different elements. It contains a label, it contains an input, and again this is all present inside another division and another division and another form element. So there are so many elements. What we need is, we finally need to reach an element where you can perform an action. Div is not what we are looking for. We are looking for the final element, which is this input. If you see this input, it has some kind of an ID. It has a class as well. Where is the class? Class is here. So it is a kind of a navigation input, nav input class, and the ID is to tab search text box. Okay, it could be anything you want. So this is what we need. So first step, we are going to fetch this element and add some value into it and see whether it is displaying here or not. But before that, let us add something manually. Let's see, headphones. Notice here, the value that I entered here is it's modifying something else, which is this input. There is some other input which is hidden. We don't know what it is, and there is one more input which is also some kind of hidden element, so we don't care about that. Our main focus is something that we are able to see here, which is this input. So input with this ID and with any one of the class, we need to change the value. First, let us open up the console from the bottom. Let's press console. Now here itself, I think I closed the console. So go here to the right side, show console drawer. So it will be showing me the elements window here, and at the same time I will also have access to the console window. You can always go to the console directly to write your elements here, write your queries here, but it will be easy for me to do if I see the console drawer along with the elements. Let us first do one thing. Let's select this element here, input. So what we have is, if you right click and if you copy, go here, it will give you the selector and Excel path. So many different items are there. Let us copy the selector. What happens with the selector is, it will give you a kind of an ID which when you use will be giving you a value to uniquely identify this particular input. It may not be uniquely identifying it, but this is what we need: hash to tab search text box. And when you are searching for a class, you will be putting a dot in front. When you are searching with an ID, you will be putting a hash in front. Regardless, what we need is, before that, the whole window itself is called a document. So you need to start with the document dot select query select all. or maybe query selector, which will give you the first element that you are searching. So document.query selector, in the sense but the name itself is self-explanatory. I am querying a selector. I need to give a selector value inside, and from the document I am querying this, which will return me the particular HTML element. So what I need is, I need an input with ID 2 tab search box, which we have already copied. So when we press that input, remember the hash is important, with an ID 2 tab search box. Now let me close this and press enter. Now it gave me this particular element. Now that I know that this is an input type, I can just, instead of closing that, I can say dot value is equal to hello. Let's see. Now when I change this hello, did you pay attention here? It changed it to hello, because this particular query selector, I added the value as something. So instead of hello, if I give headphone, let's say not headphone, let's say laptops, now it becomes laptop. So we are able to change this value now. The next step for us is to press this button. Same concept, same process. Let's go select here. It is an input with an ID something. Copy the selector. And now before that, let's open up a notepad and copy this one. First thing, what's happening? Oh yeah, so it's already having a line number. Search bar is this one, or let's not put these items, this one will come back again. Search bar is this, and not only this particular ID, we will also focus on something. Along with the ID, we will also add one class value, which is nothing but nav-input. I will go here, an input with a class nav input and an ID hash 2 tab bar. Okay, search bar and search click button, which is nothing but copy the selector. Let's see whether it is working or not. And now search submit button, which is again an input. An input with dot with ID nav input, and then with class nav input and an ID nav search submit button, whatever it is, and it's not, it doesn't have a value. So let me just select it and see whether I'm able to receive it. Yes, it's working. So let me copy this one from here and save it. Let's save this one for time being. Save as something. So something is saved. Now that we know this button is reachable, the next step is to click this button. So the Q is in the name itself, click. So I reach that, I query the button and then I click on it. So now we searched for laptop and we click the button and the results are generated. Perfect. So the next step is, before even going into the individual item, which is going to be a little bit tricky because we are going to fetch the data, let us first focus upon switching the pages. So we search it, we added the keyword, we searched it. Next one is to move to the next page. Get down to the bottom and select this. Okay. There is something called a span with a class called pagination. Yes, pagination strip. Let me edit the HTML, copy this one, and let's see how to select a document.query selector, and I'm looking for a span with a class. Class means you need to put a dot in front. So I'm looking for a span with the class name pagination strip. So there is a pagination strip. So this is fine. So inside the pagination strip, I don't want previous, I want next. Okay, here we go. We are having an a href. A element means that when you click this, the URL of the particular window will change. Remember, this one is not clickable. By default, any browser, regardless of Chrome or Firefox or whatever it is, it will not allow you to click this A links directly. I will show you how it works, but nevertheless, inside the span, remember, inside the span, so span pagination strip is selector, and then let's bring it up. Whoa. Let's clear it. Span pagination strip, and inside the pagination strip, I am looking for A element. See, there is a space here, and now here I would like to show you something, which is CSS selectors Mozilla. Just check this one. It will give you different ideas about how to select, like using a comma or using a combination with spaces or this symbol for selecting the child. So the possibilities are, I cannot say endless because there is an end to the possibilities, but then again, there are a lot of possibilities here. Just take a look at it, and this video, it will not be we don't have enough time, or I don't have enough knowledge to explain about all the selectors. So I will just go ahead and say only one thing. When you put a space, which means that the second item is a children of the parent. So basically I'm selecting a parent span with an ID. Can I maximize this? I'm not able to I'm able to maximize it. Okay, I am selecting a span which is my parent with a class called this, and inside the parent, since I give a space, I am trying to select the child inside the span. If I put a comma, then I mean I'm selecting a span, and I'm also selecting another element which is not necessarily the child of this. So, but basically when I give a space, the space defines the second item is the children of the first item. So let me get down here. Whoa, why am I seeing this style? So I don't need to see the styles. How do I close the styles? So I need an A with let's focus on something here, because there are so many A's here, even the 1 and 2 and everything is an A, but these contains some other class name. But if I get down here to my A here, this contains something called pagination next. So it's the name is very obvious. This is for next. This particular class is for next. So I'm going to say an A with a class so dot pagination next, and that's enough, I believe. So it's going to give me an A href with a pagination next. Now, if you try to click this button, it is not allowed. It is prohibited. If you try to click this, of course, when you are there are ways to do this, but let's first see how it goes. It says undefined. And did it change page? No, the page itself is 1. If I get down, I'm still on page 1. Let me try again. Click. Whoa, it worked actually. It worked, and it actually moved to the next page. It's very weird, but usually it will not work. It will throw the exceptions. But maybe when we are trying to do this in our WPF application, it might not work. Maybe it worked here, but this is not the right approach, because when you are trying to click a link, it throws some kind of an exception. So what we do, we fetch the href. Href is nothing but the link from this particular element, and then we change the URL directly. That's what we are going to do. How do you do that? Document contains something called href, right? So in this element, select the href. So this is the link. I'm now going to change my URL with this link. So URL, to change the URL window, just like how you added document. Document means the website itself. Window means the tab itself. So instead of the document which you are seeing the website, window gives you the tab value. So window.location means this particular tab.url value. So the particular tab.url value is equal to this one. I am going to say that now. Now this is fine. There are also some kind of an exceptions still. Never mind, but I know for a fact that window.location method works in our WPF application, so that's what we need. So we have now achieved 3 steps. First step, we managed to let me copy this whole, go to my text search button, navigation, next button, here to here. Okay, save this one. View, zoom in. Okay, so now we managed to word wrap 1, 2, 3. So we managed to get the search bar and add the value, perform a click operation upon the search button, and then navigate to the next page. These are all fine, but this is not what we need. Eventually our requirement is to get the values from all these and put them into a CSV file. So let me move it back here and close the drawer, select it, just move the mouse around to a particular element which you need. Like this is a sponsored one. Maybe there could be some kind of a differentiation between sponsored and the actual results. Now everything is sponsored. Until here everything is sponsored. This laptop keyboard is also sponsored, but this is not sponsored. So let's go here. Okay, let's select this, come back here and see what it says. This is a div, and go one step up, up. Okay, there we go. And if we go further up, nothing happened. Go further up, go further up. Okay, so there we go. This is the result. One, if you pay attention, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are the results that we have received. Now what we need to do is we need to find some kind of a keyword or some kind of a pattern in all these results, and this pattern is what you need to focus on. So there should be some obvious difference between the values that are returned. If you see here, there is something which is a whole banner kind of thing, and then again there is even the result title is also in the same result, and then again something. So these are all sponsored. So many values. Maybe it is kind of a grid. Of course it is a grid, and in these grid values you have different column sizes, you have different values, but you need to find the pattern. First we find the obvious patterns. So let's get down here, select this. Okay, this is what we need. If I see here directly, am I able to get some values? So this is called data async. For this time being, I will just move this out. We have data, index, UID. This is not unique, and component type is there, and class. So nothing is of use to us here, but there is something called search result 6. And if you see here, let's go up to this search, whether there is a difference between this one. No, there is no difference between that as well. Reason is, I will tell you why. You see here, even the results title is also named as search result 1, and the first banner is search result 0, third one is search result 2. So you cannot use this widget name because you cannot differentiate the exact result with the title. So everything is a result. So let's just open up something like this. Let's select something, scroll into view, open it up. There is some before after operations happening. Perfect. We got it. There is something called main search results -8. Let's see whether it is the same in case of the second one, search result 1. Scroll into view, which is nothing but our result title. Oh, come on, don't do this to me. Okay, the search result title, which is nothing but this one, right? This one. If I go inside, this cell widget contains a different ID. This says main top banner message. What is the first one says? Lifestyle image blah 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 blah. And what does the third one say? Main search result 2. Fourth one says main search result 3. Let's randomly go down to something. Scroll into view. Main search result 32. So basically we need to find a division element with a cell widget ID called main search results. Now let us also confirm this is not conflicting with the pagination. Whoa. We could see our pagination ID is completely different. How? The cell widget ID is main pagination. Now, what if there are other main search results outside? So let's confirm that nothing is like that. Go to the top. So now, if you move your mouse here, you could see there is a span called search results, and inside this span we have all the different main search results, a top banner here, and then the pagination and everything. So whatever we do for the results, we need to first target this span search results. Do we have any other way to reach this out? Data component type is search results. So we need to first reach the span data component type search results, and from there we need to, inside the children, we need to process or get all the other elements. So let us do one thing. Let's open up our drawer console. Where is the drawer? I closed it. Show drawer console. Clear everything. This one we already copied, I believe. Okay. Now within my document.query selector, search for a span with a data. This is an attribute, user defined. So attribute should be coming inside a what do you call it, as close bracket or a rectangle bracket? I don't know the name, but this is a bracket. So search for a span whose data component type is equal to, you see, when you don't give a value, the result is going to be null. I need something called search results. So I got it. So this is my main parent. Within my main parent, now this is my main parent, right? Within my main parent, I need to find a div element whose cell widget ID, I believe, whose cell widget ID, let's scroll into view, this one, whose cell widget ID starts with, because the end value could be anything like -2 or anything, the cell widget ID starts with main search results. So let us go here within my span parent space. I'm looking for a division element whose cell underscore widget underscore ID, cell widget ID is not equal to. If I put equal to, it is going to look for an exact value. Let me show you what. Close bracket, and that's it. Yeah. If I say main hyphen search underscore results. See, I'm not getting any results in the bottom. We are also missing a colon here. The results is null because when you put equal to here, you are looking for exact result. We don't need exact result. If you need to put exact result, then you also need to identify the hyphen 2. If I give hyphen 2, wow, even I'm not able to reach the exact result. There is something missing. Let us find out what it is. Cell widget T is missing. Cell widget, come on, why is it in caps? Cell widget ID, if I give exact results, it is going to give me this particular cell value. If I remove this 2, then it is not going to give me. So what we need is we need to find a particular cell widget ID which starts with, it's not exactly equal. There are different ways how you can do it. I will show you something. So equal to means that it's exact match. You also have something called as star equal to, which means it contains a substring, or you have something called as this tilde symbol equal to, which means it is containing the word itself. So containing, so these two are containing. And then you have one more thing called as this symbol, like the vertical line. I don't know what the name is. This means that starts with or equals. Either it should be equal or starts with. And then finally we have something else. This I don't know. I don't remember many of these symbols. I have been using them for a long time, but I don't know. I think this is caret symbol or whatever it is. The symbol equals means starts with, and dollar. I know this symbol. Dollar equal means ends with. So we need starts with either this two. Okay. So we need starts with. So when inside the symbol, just put this arrow mark, and now whatever starts with main ID search results will be displayed. But the query selector itself means the first value is returned. If you put query selector all, it will give you an array of all list, which is 60 items that are getting displayed here. Now let's see. Enter 60 items. There are 60 items which are getting displayed. That's perfect for us. This is what we need. Okay, so now let's see. Here is the 60 items. Let's focus into this item and scroll into view. Let's do one thing. Let's start with the first item, which is my first item. Select this, scroll into view. This is my first item. Let's go to the 60th item, the last item. 59, right? Of course, number starts with 59th item. Scroll into view. Oh, what was it? This is my last item. So it is able to give me the first item to the last item, which is 60 items. So this is what we need. So we reached the query here. That's perfect, and copy this. So next button, and which is search results. Okay, this is what we need. This is our search results. Perfect. Let's save it again. Come back. Now let us not do this query all, because that we did because we wanted to show how we can fetch this, but we need only focus on first item. First item. Scroll into view. This first item. From this first item, let us see what are the values that we can get from here. If I open it up, again there is something. Go inside. Again there is something. Go inside. Go inside. Go inside. Okay, there we go. We have two parts. One part is giving me the image. Other part is giving me something called A section or A space or whatever it is. Okay, but we are going to focus on something called division element with S product image container. So this is what we need. We need to go select a division element with a class S product image container, inside which I will have an href element. If I open up the href element again, it is going down. There are two things here that you need to focus. First one is the href itself will take you to the exact product. When you click it like this, it will take you to the exact product where you can get all the further information, but we are not going to do that. We are going to just do a small simple scrapping. So our focus is to get the image from here, which is let me maximize it. Whoa. Okay, I need a division element with a class called sProductImageContainer, inside which, like any level of children, I don't need the first level of children, which is a span. I need to go as down as possible and find me a image with class simage. So very simple, and then get me the src. This is what I need. So let's write a code and say here okay, document.query selector. You know something, while writing the code we will go there, but from this one get me the first selector. Okay, first selector, and inside which get me the division element. Yeah, this one. Get me the division element with class s product image container, and inside this product get me the first child image. Get me the first child image with a class called s-image. Now there we go. This is it. Now from here get me the src value. Get me this and get me the src value. There we go. This is my come on, don't do this to me. Come on. Okay, here we go. Let's search and see what it looks like. Perfect. So we are now able to fetch the value. So what we need is this particular element. Why am I selecting only this? Because we get the search results, which is an array, and after we will do a for each method. For each of the HTML element, we will do image search. We will do one more query selector inside this one, where it will give me the particular image. So this is the image that I got, and second one that I need is this title side. Let's go up. Let's do one thing. Instead of the image container, we have one more container. This one. We have so many containers. We have a container here. We need to identify. So image container is this, and what is the unique name that we can get here? This is called A section. Even though that doesn't make any sense, because the A section is here and the A section is here, so it's not unique. It's not easy to identify like this. We need something else. We have something called s-card container. So find a division element called s-card container. The reason why I'm choosing this is it's very obvious. It looks unique, but A section is not unique. It's not meaningful. So I'm just going to assume that s-card container is for the whole card. Inside the x-card container, find me a division element. Perfect, I found it. Find me a division element whose title should contain a span with Nope, not this. Very difficult. You know what's happening here? This A size mini might also be present here. See, I have A size small, and I have I'm not able to exactly identify this. I'm not able to target this because the A section is here, A section is here, spacing is here, spacing to here, P micro is something, micro is here, and small. And only difference that I could find is this is called yes title instruction style. This is price instruction style. There we go. We got it. We need to find a division element with class called s title instruction style and another division element called price instruction style. So we will get the title and the price. And what else is needed? Do we need the delivery time, but is it available for everything? No, that is not available for everything. So that is not unique, but everything will have a title, everything will have a price. First, let us focus on the price part. Price instruction style will have some extra 20% on AID, AB bank. No, this is not what I need. I need something that should give me a span called A price. So A price and the price symbol is here, price whole is here, and price decimal is here, price fraction is here. But is it possible to do that? What does it do? It gives me AED 39.0. AED means Arab Emirates Dirham. So AED 39. Okay, we know that we can reach the price, but that's okay. Let's first focus only on the title instruction style. Okay, like we have seen, we need to find a division element with the class escort container. So we already got the image, right? So here, in the same way how we have reached the main results, we will be looking for a division element with class called escort container. This one, inside which I'm going to look for in the deepest down children. I need another division element with class title instructions style, and inside this title instruction style, find me a span whose okay, find me a link, because anyhow we all know that of course even this is also going to be a link. Everything is a link, and inside the link we have some other values here. We have different symbols with span, sponsored. This is not what we need. We need to find a unique value. S line clamp 4. Do we have this S line clamp 4 here? No, this is something called micro. So I am going to assume that micro is only for whether it is sponsored or other items. There we go. We need to find a H2. Of course, a H2. But this is coming with H2 whose class is S-line clamp 4. Okay, perfect. Find me a H2 element whose class is S-line clamp 4, and inside that deep down, find me a span whose A size base plus A text normal. Let's assume that this is going to be the same. So find me a span in the deep down children whose class is going to be A text normal. Let's find it. We did not find it. So let's see why we did not find it. We reached this escort container. Fine. Inside the container, we reached a division element with title instructions, title instructions style. Let me cut this one and see. Cut this. Let me cut this one. Whether we are reaching at least there. Yeah, we are reaching there. Inside that, find me a h2 element whose class is s-line clamp 4. h2 whose class is s-line clamp -4. There we go. That's it. We reached it. And the span will have some value, right? So let's say inner text. So this is our title. So we managed to reach a card until here. Copy this. So title is this one. Now you might be wondering why we are trying to find this. So this is the reason why in the beginning of the video I said you need to understand how we are doing the web scraping, because tomorrow this might change. When I say tomorrow, not immediately tomorrow, maybe after a couple of months they might be updating their interface, and this yes product might change to Y product or G product. They might be changing the attribute name, and then again it will not work. But if you know how it is happening, then it will be easy for you to identify. Like all you need to do is just next time when you are done with everything and your application doesn't work, just go to your document and then do a search and find this particular item. Search this. If something is not working, all you need to do is update the exact selector, and then that's it. So it's a matter of updating your application every once in a while. Now we managed to get the title. The next one is going to be the price, like this. Okay, here we go. We need S price instructions, inside which we need a span called A price. Let's forget about the hidden one. Let's only focus on a span called A price, inside which I am going to get a span called A off screen and get the value. Very simple. We will just take this as is, or if you don't want to do this one, you can also go for price symbol, price whole, and then go for price decimal, and then again. So this is going to be confusing, so I will just go ahead and use this direct value so that we can directly put it inside. So what we do, the same value whatever we did before, but instead of title instructions, we are now going to go price instruction style. Instead of title, go for price instruction style. Inside that, search for a span called A price. Inside that, search for remove everything else, span whose class is A price, inside which search for another span whose class is A off screen, and get me the value which is AED32. So this is also working fine. So let's copy this one completely and put it here. Price is this one. Okay, we managed to get this value as well. We got the title, we got the price, and what else we need? Do we need the stars? But remember, the stars is not applicable everywhere. Even here we don't have the stars. So we can also try one thing. We can also try to see whether the stars is available or not. Maybe like for some items the stars will be available, some it might not be available. Number of ratings is also needed, right? Let's see this star. This star is 2 out of 5 star, and I don't have the total number. Let me search this one. Okay, let us do one thing. We will only fetch the image, the name, and the price, and the stars we will just ignore. All we need is only these three things. So we will just focus on only these things at present. Okay, that's it. We now managed to get the items that are needed for us. These ones are search bar, search click button, navigation, results, image, title. We might have spent 1 hour to get all these items, but if you know what you are doing, If you understood the concept, you should be able to get all this information within 10 to 15 minutes. We did this because I've been trying to explain to you the process involved behind it, but it should not take more than that. To fetch all these items, it should take you less than 10 to 15 minutes. So far, we have been seeing only to understand how this is working and to fetch all these required items. But now what we are going to do, we are going to start building our WPF. But before that, I need to show something. I need to write JavaScript code here, because we will be executing the same script in our WPF application as well. I need to execute a JavaScript code to show you how the results are going to be generated. So to do that, if you know since we are going to build it in C#, and JavaScript, they don't make much difference in terms of some of the syntaxes, not everything. Some of the syntaxes are going to remain the same. For instance, the for each method is going to remain the same. Let's say for loop. What do we need? We need to get this array, right? So let's copy here. Before we do that, let's do one thing. I will just say let array query is equal to document dot query select all, select everything with this particular, select everything with a single quote, not single quote, we are already using single quote, double quote, with this particular selector. And remember, I'm not going to give enter, I'm going to press shift enter. So we are going to write a multiple line query. Remember, not enter, shift enter. So after that, move 2 lines down, and whatever the result that we are going to get from this, for but we need an for each, right? Let us do one thing. Let us first give an okay, control end, and let's say array query. Okay, we received this value, but what we need is, this is an array, it's nothing but a node list. What we are receiving is a node list, it is not a normal array. So we can do 2 things. One is, does it contain any kind of count or length? Let's see, we should get the value 60 now, 60, so that is fine. So again we will do something, array query of second item. Let's see. Wow, you know something, I never realized this before. The previous value is still copied down because I added it inside a variable. I never knew it. So for loop, for index is 0 to bound is array query dot length. For 0 to index is less than the length of the query, get me the title. So let's say let title is equal to document.query selector, not document.query selector. Let's say, oh my goodness, I need to press shift enter. Remember this, let target is equal to array query of index, whichever we have, and target dot query. Inside this target, find me this particular HTML element, whatever it is, and shift enter. and this is my title element, and write title dot inner history inner text. Are we receiving it? Title is what? Again, it is giving me a span with the text normal. Did we reach the text normal? Yeah, of course, span. So title dot inner HTML. Let's see. Nope, it's not working. So we missed something. Let's find this title and see what we have. We got this particular title, but we didn't get for each. So we need to do something else, but that we will do. You know what happened? It just gave us the last value, I believe. HP Spectre X60. It is not giving me each value, it is giving me the last value. That is totally fine. Here what we will do, again we go here, and before doing this, we will do something. We will just add one more variable called let title array is equal to an array, and then we copy our code here and say whenever we receive the value, let's title array dot push the title dot inner text. Maybe this will work or maybe it will not work, and just after all the for loop is done, just give me the title array. There we go. So now we managed to get all the 60 title arrays. So this is fine. So we are getting the title array, but instead of the title array, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create an object itself. I'm going to create an object and I'm going to publish that object. So let's do that. So instead of title array, now we have product array, which is nothing but an array again, and let target is equal to this, let title is equal to this, and likewise we'll also get 3 items. Let image is equal to, title is equal to, price is equal to, and image is, where are you? This one, here you are. So image is this, get me the image, and title is this, that's totally fine, and get me the price, get me the price, and then product array dot push, of course product array dot push a new object, a JSON object with what do you call, images, image dot href, and title is title dot inner text. Oh my god, I pressed enter here. I should not have done that. Let's do it again. Inner text, shift enter, price is price dot inner text. After all of this is done, print the price product array, enter. So we got the 60 arrays, and the first one I have got the image undefined. Let us go back and check why it is undefined. Price is there, title is there. You know the reason why it is undefined? Because you are directly publishing the href. Of course it should be href, right? Image.href, where it is. What is an image? You are finding an image, yes, image. Let us do one thing. Let us instead of publishing the href, let us publish the image directly and see what is image contains. current src. No, it's not a href, it's an src. Of course, it's an src. Image.src. Perfect. Now if you do this, you will receive the image here, you will receive the price here, title here. So at the end of the day, this is your script that you need to run inside. This is the script that you need to run inside your WPF. So let's put endpoint here, and there are a couple of things. This is your final script, and before you run the script and receive all the product array, you need to search for something, you need to click the search button, and you need to navigate to the next page, and you need to do this again. Let me save this at present, and there we go. Let me close this one. We are not going to do anything at present. I will close my Chrome, and then we will start building the WPF application. Let's start with the WPF application, and we'll create the location. Okay, so I will call it as Amazon scrapping, and place the solution and project in same place. Okay, and we'll go with the .NET 6. I have .NET 7, but let's go with .NET 6. I'm not going to use MVVM concept here. Why should we not use MVVM? We can use MVVM, but let's keep it to minimum. First, as usual, without doing anything, just run your application. It should be working fine. There we go. So this is your application. Superb. Go back to your main window. Add two things. One, I will add a stack panel, and inside the stack panel, let us add grid, small grid, and say grid dot column definitions, and add two columns here, column, and inside these columns add a first text block and say text is something. Let's call this text as keyword, and add another text box now, and the grid column should be 1. So you go it on the right side. So we have a grid here, but it's taking equal spaces, right? So this one, let's limit the width at maybe 120. So that's fine. So you have a keyword, and then you have a, what do you call this, text box, and let's put a margin for the overall value. Margin is 10 on the left side, comma 30 on the top side. Okay, 10 comma 30. So you have a keyword, you will enter some values here. I need to repeat the same grid again and again. So instead of doing that, I will give an item control, and inside the item control I will place this. By default, the item control will always have a stack panel inside. So let's add a window.resources, resource dictionary style. For our key, the key will be column item control IC. You can name it whatever you want, and target type is type of items control, and setter, setter property is items panel, and setter dot value items panel template, and template is going to be a grid. Cut this out, paste it here. So now save it, and style is here. Pay attention to the top. The moment you say the style of this is this one, there we go. So we'll copy this item control again, and now instead of keyword, we will give what do we need other than this. We also will add a margin. Setter property margin value is equal to, left side is 0 and top side I need at least 10, so there is a gap. 10 is too much. 5. Okay, 1, we need a keyword. 2, what else we need? page limit. Do we need this? Maybe or may not be, but forget about it. We don't need this at all. We need only the keyword. Very simple. Use a keyword and then that's it. You prepare the result and show the results to the users. This is fine. Okay. I think that is more than enough. We will first run this one to see how it looks. Okay, so all we need to do is we need to enter the keyword that we want to search, and when we press web scraping, I don't know, maybe you can come up with a better name here. When we press the scrap button, it should open the web page, go through all the whatever we did before in the earlier stages of the video, and it should return the data back to us. And the data should be displayed here. Maybe we can use a data script to display the results, and when we export it, it should be able to export it to an Excel, because eventually that's what we need. We need the data to be imported into an Excel file where we will be able to organize them. And it should not even be an Excel file. Like in case you need it to be displayed in your stored in your database, you can modify the implementation and do it. What I will do now next, I will create a small view model, and then when we press this button, it will directly implement it. And for that, I will add Haley MVVM, but it's not mandatory that you need to use Haley MVVM. You can go with any kind of MVVM implementation, but the only thing that you need to understand is the core function or core process, what's happening. So we'll go with Get packages. Let's go Haley. I think I will go with the WPF directly. And speaking of Haley, where is the rest? We might not need rest now. We'll just add and install this one. Done, added. So let's say this. Let's go back, and we're looking at MVVM, right? So we'll go to create a new class. Let's call this as main view model. Let it be internal, no worries. And we'll make it public. And using Haley.models or Haley, add all the namespaces needed. And this main view model is it's a Japanese calendar. The main view model is a base VM. So base VM is coming from Haley main view model. Okay, first thing first, I will create an I command. I command is present in system.windows.input, and the name for this will be command execute scrap. Okay, this should call a delegate method, delegate command, which should be execute scrap method, and let's say generate the method. Okay, now here we will implement. Now before this should be enabled only when our in the main window we have this keyword, right? This one text box. Only if the value is present, it should be enabled. If the value is not present, it should not be enabled. The value also we need to have at least a keyword, let's say like 4 letters maybe, or maybe 3 letters is fine. So we will create a new property. I will create a property string and call it as keyword. Okay, this set prop is coming from Haley. Basically, this will, if you go inside and see, it will raise the on property changed method, which will again invoke the iNotify property changed. So the keyword. So what I will do here, I need to give a function which will return me a boolean value. So the boolean should be something like keyword is not a string, it's a string, right? So string dot is null white space keyword is not null, and also keyword dot length is greater than 3, length is greater than 3, length is greater than 2, so that we have 2 keywords. Okay, and what it does, it's saying something. Of course it's not returning. I'm in JavaScript mode. Okay, there we go. So the keyword is here, and we need to implement the main view model. So we will keep it very simple. I will directly call the data context is equal to new main VM, and since the data context is set, now the view model, the view will have access to this new instance of a main VM. That's why we have said new main VM. Since the view will have it, we can now directly bind it here. Text is binding to this, notify on source update list to update source trigger is property changed, and this one will bind it to the command. Bind it to the I command that we created here, which is nothing but this one. Okay, this one will not update. This is a one-time binding, which means only during the initiation or running it will be binding. Other than that, during the runtime, even if it is updated or even if it is changed, it will never inform the button. That's the reason why you don't need to give notify property change. Even if you give, it doesn't matter, it will not work. Okay, now that's fine. The next step is we need to see whether it is working or not. There we go. Now the scrap button is disabled. Only when we cross the 3 letters it is enabled. So this is fine, and let us put a checkpoint here to see whether we are reaching this place. Scrap. So this is working fine. So the next most important step is to create. Now we have reached a point where we are ready to implement the browser. We need a browser so that the web page will be called from a WPF application, which will then again execute all the methods, change the pages, do the search and everything. To do that, we install the Microsoft's NuGet package, which is WebView 2. I know. I don't know why they call it as 2, but this is the name that they are using. So this 4.2 million downloads. So just install that. It is from Microsoft. Once it is done, we need to create a new browser. So basically, it will be kind of like a browser that we will open. Instead of opening a browser from Chrome, we will be opening our own browser. This one is again going to be a window, and let's call it as scrap window. Now I can go ahead and explain a lot of other minor technical things related in this, but I always get sidetracked, so I will just keep stay focused only on this part. XML namespace, let us call it as WebView 2, and this is WebView 2 WPF. And instead of we can do anything we want. Let's do row definition, grid dot row definition. Let's do it in a 2 row value. Row definition, height is equal to 30, so we have a height 30 here. The second one is going to be, and the first one we can say you can put whatever you want, but currently I will just keep it simple. I will put background of antique white. This one we can fill with anything, like showing a message or whatever we want at a later stage, but currently we don't need that. WebView 2 dot WebView 2. Perfect. So now we need to give it a name. X key. Name, not key. Name is, let's call it as what do you call? A scrapper, Amazon scrapper, or a scrapper web view 2, a scrapper web view 2, anything that is reasonable or you find it meaningful for you. Why did I add it here? Because I'm not going to show this web view 2. We are not going to add MVVM for this web view or the scrap window. We are going to directly call the code behind it. This will be keeping it easy for us. First step, when you are calling the window itself, let us decide that we need to give it a let's make it private, and we will call one more public scrap window, and let us give this string and call it as not string, let's call it as an URI and web URL. So we need to call it with a web URL, and instead of initializing, just call this one. That's it. So what happens here, whenever this is initiated, this will call this method and it will initialize. Meanwhile, we will also call string URL. Let's put underscore string URL. URL is equal to, it's an URI, right? Web URL. Perfect. And after the initialization is complete, we need to do something. When you call this one, initialization will happen, and after initialization is done, we are going to implement the web URL, and after this is done, we have something called Amazon Scrapper web view 2 dot navigate to not navigate to, that is for showing the source itself, so URL. Perfect. So this is what we need. Whenever we open it up, we are going to show. So now, to keep everything simple, when I press the scrap button, instead of showing Amazon website, I'm going to show the Google website or maybe Amazon website itself and just show that the website has reached. So scrap variable scrap is equal to new, what was the name, scrap window, and you cannot do it without giving the URI, new URI with https amazon.ae, and that's it. There we go. Once you initiate this, scrapper dot show dialog, so you will show the dialog. So let's see how it goes. Okay, something scrap. It didn't work, or maybe it's working. Okay, it's loading the symbol. Okay, we made a mistake. Very simple one. The web view 2 is still showing the 30 height, so we need to give it the grid dot row is to 1, whatever. So now what we did, we managed to open this website directly from within your application that you have created. Directly from the application that you have created, you managed to do it. Let's keep a size like this. Maybe we need to define a width and height. The reason why I want to define a width and height is sometimes when the width and height are reduced, it might turn into a mobile site, and maybe some of the selectors we have created here might not work, because depending upon the screen size, sometimes the website will change its selector. So we need to ensure that it is in a proper size. So let us give it width and height which is reasonable. So let's call it as 1200 and height of 600, just to ensure that it will not be a problem for us. So once this is done, where are you here? Once this is done, scrap window is here and everything is fine. So let's do it again. Perfect. So now that it works. So the next step, we need to pass in a lot of values inside, and those values will be processing our application. So here to the scrap window itself, we need to pass or execute a lot of methods. The first method is search results method. So we will search bar method. We need to get this component, and then in the component we need to add a keyword and then press the search button. So we will create a small method called now, before we create a small method, just did you notice something? You are giving an URL. You will be able to fetch all these values only after the page is loaded. So you need to call a event, subscribe to an event. Let's open the properties. There will be a lot of events which this WebView 2 will be providing us. We need something called navigation complete. Let's see where it is. Navigation completed, which means you gave it a source or a URL and the navigation to the new source is completed, and that's when this navigation completed will be called. Let's see here, Microsoft code blah 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 blah, and remove this from here. Okay, only when the navigation is completed this will be this will be called. Let's test this setup first. So when the application is loaded and now it is not called, after the navigation or the page is loaded, it reached this place. Now I will do something else. I will try to manually search something. Let's say earphones, and I press enter. Navigation is happening and navigation is completed and we are reaching this place. So this is working. This setup is working fine, no problem there. So what we do next, we need to give it, once the navigation is completed, we will be then able to initiate all the process required. So we need to first understand that Amazon AE itself is loaded. For that to happen, we will say we will give it a boolean flag and say first initialize is false. So first initialized, only if it is not initialized, then first initialized is equal to true, which means that this will be changed only when the first time it happens. Perfect. Now, so after this initialization is done, we need to inform our view model that the initialization has completed. Anyhow, we have somehow reached and subscribed to this event, and the navigation we are controlling here. Let's check something. There are a couple of ways that you can do it. One step is you can subscribe to this ASW2, which is your browser, from your main view model itself, so that when the navigation is completed you will be receiving this information directly inside your view model, and here you will not be doing any process at all. That is also one way. We will try that one. So instead of ASW, let's think about a better name. Let's call it as browser. That's very obvious name, but browser I will remove this navigation completed also and go back to here and remove this completely and call it as browser. And first initialization also we will remove. Everything is done. Go to our main window. Now before we show the dialog, subscribe to the nav events. We know that the scrapper or this window contains, we gave it a name called browser, and this browser contains navigation completed event, and we need to subscribe to nav completed. So let's press control dot and then generate the method. Now this is fine. So whenever the navigation is completed, we will be receiving our information here. Now inside this, we will call this boolean. So bool first initialize is equal to false, and if not first initialize, then first initialize is true. So we now know that the first initialization has happened. After we show the dialog, we need to, once the web page itself is loaded and the first initialization has happened, we need to do one important thing, which is search products. We need to call a method search products, or you can call any name you want. So what's happening here is, after we display the website for first time, we search for the products with keywords. That's it. But why do we need nav completed then? The reason is, only for the first time we will be searching the product, and second time when you move the page, when you go to the page from one page to another page, you will receive this changes. Not only when you move the pages, even when you implement the search and you press the search button, you will be calling the navigation complete will be executed. Just now we saw that after we enter the search, the navigation complete will be called, and then you need to execute your implementation. So like you need to search that. So that's why we have it here. On first initialize, we will search the product and we return it. We don't need to process further. But for subsequent, we know that we are doing, since we are doing it, we know that we have a proper step. We search the product on first initialization, and after we search the product, the only steps that remains for us is either fetching the data and switching the page. So that's what we are going to do. We will first fetch the data and switch the page. When the page changes again, we will get nav completed. Again, we will fetch the data, switch the page. So this is repeating again and again. So search products is, we already know what we need to do. First and foremost thing, let's copy this, copy all our web attributes here. Let's call it as const. Usually for constants, we give capital letters. It's up to you. Search bar is equal to at this one. Now that we added all this, the WebView 2 or the browser WebView 2 allows us to execute. So let's call the scrapper dot browser. We will do one thing. We will add WebView 2 WPF and call it as browser, and here browser equals browser. We're just assigning so that we don't need to call the scrapper every time. Here browser come on, seriously, browser dot execute script async. So this should be an asynchronous one, and task of, let's say we give a boolean value and return true. Await. We need to execute some string value. So what are we going to execute? Before we do anything, whenever our navigation is completed, and we will show a small alert, which is, speaking of alert, I will open up the if you know JavaScript, or if you have a prior experience in web development, what's this? Seriously? Okay, F12, and in the console I'll say alert hello world It's basically a message box which will be displayed, something like this. This is what we are going to do now. We will initially show something to test that it is working. So web view connection working, and let's see, after the loading is done, we should be receiving a message. Okay, let's say something blah blah blah, loading is done, and we are not seeing it. Okay, let's do one thing here. Let's press F12 and let's try if it is okay. Alert, hello. Wow, the hello is working, but our execution was not working. We need to understand why. After the navigation is complete, we are trying to execute a script inside our car. Okay, my mistake. I was not calling the alert. I was just like that. I was perfect. So this is a method that we need to execute. I can't just give a message there. Let's do one thing. We will again open up our window, save. Let's close the scrap window. Here directly we will press again loaded, and it is not working. Well, let's see again. Alert, and you are giving a message, and that's it. This is what you need. Let's try once more. Window, alert is working, web view connection working. So we know that when the page is loaded, our script execution is happening. Now we already know that this is our search bar, right? So we need to call this search bar, and then in the search bar we need to add the value. That we already know what we were doing. We also have tested it before. So document dot query selector. For this purpose, we will keep our document dot query selector. Okay, let me copy this, minimize, document.query selector, and you need to enter some values here. So we will put $at, and inside this I will give, what was it, search bar. So select the search bar and then value equals our keyword. So now when this happens, when this script is executed, our query selector will search for the search bar, and then it will add the value. Then there are a couple of things that you can do. One, in the same query itself, you can execute multiple steps. You need to press enter. So the next step will be executed now. So the second step is also the same. We'll keep it in one line, and I have an extension for formatting or cleaning up active document. Let's try this. Nope, it's not working. Here we go. So this is my line 1, and in second line I will do the same, but instead of this, after I apply, I need to search for search button, and search button I'm not going to add a value, but I'm going to perform click. Okay, there we go. So now what should happen whenever we search something? It should execute these two queries. So let's do headphones, enter, loading, loaded, and it didn't execute. Okay, let's close. Let's try something else. Document query selector dot value is keyword, yes, and query selector search button dot click both are fine, but it doesn't work. I believe this is all because of variable query equals whatever this is, and for my sake I will give some spaces here and there, and I will say I'm just testing something. If it doesn't work, we will go back to executing them one step at a time. Headphones, loading, loaded, I believe, loaded, and it didn't execute. Well, that's fine. Without closing, we will do something. Let's remove the click button, save, scrap. Let's try F12 again to see if something else is missing. F12, and we will execute our same query here. Document.query selector, and we are looking for something. I understood what's the issue here. So we're giving search bar. Search bar is this, but instead of this, you should put it inside a quotation mark, and we are missing the quotation here, and that's the reason why it's not working. So let's try something. Let's put it inside a single quote, and put it inside a single quote. Where was the other one? Okay, let's put it inside a single quote here, single quote here, single quote, single quote, and value should also be single quote. Everything is inside a single quote. Save, close, close. Let's try headphones now. This should probably work. Again, it doesn't work. So let us start. I thought it should work. Let's refresh again. Earphone. Maybe we are not, headphone is not so auspicious. But actually what happened was we made some changes, but since it was already debugging, it was not taking the values. Headphone, and so every time I don't need to move my mouse, so we need to implement some sort of enter, but leave it. Loading. Oh my, really it's not accepting the headphone. Let's try something. Laptops. Okay. You know what happened? We initialized this for the first time, and each time we display the window, it's not working. So whenever we open the execute the scrap, which means whenever you click that button, just ensure that initialization is false. So let's rename it and say browser initialized, and whenever you execute it, browser initialize should be false. The reason is when you're showing it for the first time, it should be false, and for subsequent calls, it should be true. It should not search anymore. That's what we are trying to do here. Let's try now. I thought there is a problem with the headphone. Nope, headphone is okay. Now laptops. Okay, so it is working. So after this page is loaded, browser is no longer initialized, because only when the initialization is happening, we are searching the products. And this is this one is just an idea that we are using. You can do a much better way, which is instead of calling it as initialized or search products, you can create an enum and say what is the state, what is the current state. Okay, I think instead of saying that, I will do it directly. Public enum scrap state. Let's call search, fetch, navigate. So whenever the state changes, we will be executing our application. So what we do, instead of this browser initialize, where is the browser initialized? We call scrap state is equal to scrap state dot search. So default it should start with search, and whenever you execute it, you are starting with scrap state. Oh my god, it's a tongue twister. Scrap state dot search. And if scrap state dot search will give switch state, and based upon the state case, if it is search products, break. If it is fetch products, break. Okay, and remove this whole items, and fetch products we will copy and we'll create a new method. Perfect. Let me go to code my cleanup activity. Okay, so search product is an asynchronous method. That's the reason why it is calling like this, but instead you can do one thing. Okay, if you are using async, if you are awaiting, you need async. We need to wait until this is done. Anyhow, this is totally fine. And after this state is done, after your execution itself is done, change the state, because you are saying that state product search is changed. So what is the next step after the state is changed? The next step is fetch. So you change the state, and when the navigation completes, let's say you're anyhow executing the state, right? So here, once you start searching, you change the state to fetch mode, and then you execute. After this execution is done, you will return immediately true, which what happens is this execution will result in navigation complete, which will come back again here and check the state, which will be fetch, and then it will do the fetch product. So this will be more better approach. So in the fetch products, we already know what we need to do. We need to find this result container, which will give us the if we do query select all, this will give us all the result container values, and inside that we will be fetching all the different elements. So first step, browser, we will do it in a query mode. This is more easy to do. Query selector all, instead of search bar we will do this time fetch the results container. This is not just results container, this is the results array. Fetch the results array, and once you receive this results array, this will give us all the values. We need something else, like what we saw in the previous section. We already have it, I believe. Here you see we have everything that we need here. Let's minimize this, and instead of this, let's put it here. Let me do one more cleanup. It's not working. It's totally fine. I thought it will format my page. Nope, not happening. Okay, there we go. Now we have a product array. Then you need first the array query, right? Which is nothing but array query is document.querySelector all query selector all. From the document, select everything with these items. So this will give me a query selector all. Once this is done, I am going to the query selector length, then I am processing it. Here there are two, here this is my what do you call the block. Inside the block I am doing an action. I am saying the target is array query index and image is target query selector all. Instead of like this, we will put something like this here, 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 and instead of results array, first we get results image title price, results image title price. So we got the image title price and we are pushing the results into the product array. And here, instead of when you are doing it in the console, when you write something, that will be directly displayed in the console. But what we need here is we need to send this data back to our application. Now see, this is a string. We are going to execute this string inside a browser fetch, and to send a message from the browser to your WPF application, there is a call. The call is async task. The call is chrome dot I believe send message. No, I just checked their web page in Microsoft. So the call is not chrome dot, it is window dot chrome dot webview dot post message, and here you need to post something which is nothing but your product array. Product array is already an array, so you don't need to put it inside a quote. If you put it inside a quote, then that becomes a string, and there you go. So this is something that you need to remember. Usually when you are building a Chrome extension, you will be calling a chrome dot post message, but here chrome dot webview dot post message. Remember, P small letter, it's a camel case, starts with small letter and goes to messages capital. And now this will send a message, that is for sure, and that is totally fine. But where is the message? Where we receive the message? So again, we need to subscribe to one more event. So now we have the navigation complete. We also have something called message, web message received. Basically, the message is received from the browser. So generate the method. There we go. So I have saved it. Here, let us put a block. So when you execute this search and fetch all the data and send a message, you should be receiving your information at this particular point here. Let's check this. Let's search for headphones. It's taking time. May not be working, may be working, we don't know. This is too much time. I think it's not working. Okay, let's do something now. Let's put F12. F12 is also not working for me. 7 pack. Close. Scrap again. Select. Okay. Anyhow, I think we made some mistake. It's not okay. It's not showing the results on second navigation load. So what's the mistake that we did? Whenever we start, we are already setting this to search mode. So we should already be coming here to search the products. If you're not even reaching there, then there should be a problem. So open up here. headphones. Okay, we are setting the search mode, initializing it, fetching it, and showing the dialog. Page is loaded and product search is received, and we moved to fetch state. Okay, and we executed the query, and query is executed. Close this. Try with a different one. Earphones. Reaching this point, search is executed. Search is okay. Well, let me save, clean solution, rebuild, test again. This time I will not put any breakpoints. We'll remove all breakpoints. Where are the breakpoints here? Remove all breakpoints. Execute. Headphone. Close. Earphone. Close. Laptop. Okay. Close. Now let us put only here and see whether we are receiving the message. Okay, it's not happening. So instead of going for we will do a simple query. Let's recheck our query again. We are setting the document.query selector all. We are fetching the results, and then we are creating a new product array, and we are doing a loop here, and inside the loop we give the index and fetch all the results, image, title, price, and in the product array we are pushing this value, or basically we are creating a new product and we are pushing that inside. And after this is done, we are calling a web view post message. Let's do something. Instead of this big query, let us do a small query, and I will just directly call this query like window.chrome web view dot post message hello, and check if we are receiving at least this hello now. Then we will go back to our big query. Let's not do headphones. Yes, we are receiving our query, and the value is also hello. So web message JSON, we received the message. Okay, so maybe there is this problem. We are trying to send the product, which is an array, and this is an object in JavaScript, and our application is not able to process it. We don't know. We cannot comment on that. But for safer side, what I will do, I will just let's just comment it out. Instead of sending the product array, I will show something. JavaScript has an inbuilt method called JSON. Remember, everything is capital. JSON, and then inside you need to put your product, whatever is your product. When you put, it will be parsing that into, let's see, JSON JavaScript. JSON.parse text, it will convert it, and convert text to JavaScript, convert object to JSON. How do you convert it? Yeah, remember, JSON stringify. So you need to call JSON.stringify and put your object inside. It will convert it into a JSON string. Let's try this one. JSON.stringify. It's a weird names that they're choosing for JavaScript, but we are using web view number 2, so we cannot comment on that. Instead of this, query.trim. So remove all the trailing, and I don't know whether it will make any difference, but let it be there. This time if everything works fine, it should be open, processing, process is done probably now. You are not receiving the message. Or maybe the process is going on. We don't know. So, or how do you know that the process is going on or not? You need to put a check here to see whether the search process itself is completed or not. You can also put a check here to see whether this fetch products execute is completed or not. Laptops, search, now navigation completed and you are in search mode. Now navigation completed, you are in fetch mode. This execution of the script is also done, that's what it says. But we are still waiting for the page load. Let's do one thing. Press F12, go directly inside, copy our code. This code, let us copy and go back here, paste it. So query is there, window, Chrome, WebView, post message is there, enter. Now you cannot use the results array and result image because now we are already inside. So safer side. Just let's put here, input is there. I understood the problem. We already have quotations inside. You see, we have a small quotation inside. So if you are again going to put one more value inside a small quote, it will not work, and that's the reason why our query is not working. So we need a quotation, so we will put double, because we never know whether our string itself is having the value or not. So double. The problem is not in the application, problem is in so if I go up, we are using the single quote inside here, and there we don't use a single quote. Perfect. Let's put a checkpoint here. Come. Anyway, we are not reaching the point anyhow. So laptops, maybe we are not so lucky with laptop. This time I will do skateboards. Remove this. Okay, let's watch this query.trim and see. Whoa, one end bracket is missing, query.string, and go here, text.json, copy this, open up a new, I'm opening up my Visual Studio Code so that it can new text file, and I will call this as JavaScript. So window word. So here this is how it will be executed. Query selector all within a double quote, a single quote here, and a double quote and a single quote here, everything is fine. There we go. Execute. Well, We'll do one more thing. We'll press F12, and from here we'll send a small message, window.chrome.webview.post message, hello there, and we received the message. Okay, now let's copy the code that we are actually processing and see whether this code is working or not. Unidentified array query has already been declared. Array query. Identifier array query has already been declared. Okay. Now I understood the next problem. You know, when it comes to JavaScript, everything is inside a block. When you execute a script, it is already executed. So when you execute this array for the first time, it is already done. When you try to execute for the second time, it will not work because the array query is already executed. So there is a better approach here. Wrap it inside a function or wrap it inside a void. Let's go back to our VS Code where it will identify here void. I think it's not void, it's function, and call it as what do you want to call it? Fetch results. So now we are putting it inside a block. When you put it inside a block, now this array query is not global, so you can call it as much time as you want, and then you call fetch results. So everything is now perfect. Copy everything. We cannot copy everything, right? Because we already have a different way of processing it. I don't know why I did this, but still I can do one more thing. I can execute it for the first time. I think first time it should work. First time it should work. We'll go with headphone again. Headphones, headphone, processing, and web view. Message not received, no problem. And here press F12 and add it here and call. Cannot read properties of reading text, inner text at fetch results. This is null where it says inner text. We gave inner text somewhere. Title inner text is okay. Price doesn't have inner text. Why the price doesn't have inner text? I think we should have we copied everything. It was totally fine. And again, price doesn't have inner text. Let's run this query directly and see what happens. Document.query selector. Now this one has an inner text, but our application says that it is not able to find the inner text. Okay, what about the title? Title should also be fine, and span does have an inner text. Let's remove the Chrome here and call this whole function again. This inner text is not readable. Okay. Console. This time I will do something. I'll remove this small text there. So we understood that the problem is with our function here itself. So what we do, we need to fine tune our query. So instead of doing all this, I will do something. I will go up and let's remove this product search for us again. Let's remove this Chrome for us again, product array for us again, and let's write target is undefined. So the target itself is undefined. What about array query? Array query also is undefined. We will do a small simple step now. I will maximize this window, and without leaving our Chrome, we will process here. So let's start. Let's close this one first and close our window again. Scrap. This time it should. This should have already thrown the exceptions. What is the message now? It's an empty array. Whatever. And close this. Scrap. F12 and paste this. Oh, not this. Paste here. Okay. So at this point, let us remove everything else and just say that we executed this document query selector all. We managed to find this value, and just say console.log array query. I'm going to say that just show me the array query. Okay, this is working. So our query is fine until that point, and let's copy this again. I'll get back. Let's run this for the second time. This is working. Okay. Now in our previous query, let me close this. F12. In our previous query, along with this one, I need to select, press shift enter, paste my query. So I am going to go, instead of pushing this array, I'll just say console.log image. What I am doing is, for each one, just log the image. That's what I'm saying. So the image is also working fine. That's totally cool. Now that I know that image is working, I will do something. Image.src title price. So let's see whether the title and price elements are retrieved. So the title, price, all elements are retrieved, and that is fine. You see here, perfect. There are some values which are null, and that's the reason why it's not showing up, I believe. For some items, the price value is not returned. Okay, we need to fine tune that. If I add inner text, I know for sure that title will not be empty. Maybe the price is empty. Okay, so this is also working. Let's go down here and say, now this time price.inner text will throw me error because price itself is null in some of the places. So just put, if price is not null, just give me the value. Now this is working totally fine. So if the price is not null, just tell me, just give me a value called null. That is fine. So if this works totally well, then our query itself, we need to push it like this. Instead of like this, and here remove the console, here remove the console. Before we remove the console, put a question mark here, here. Maybe image is not available, not applicable, and just copy everything and see. copy this, close, and go back to our WPF. Again, seriously, how can we go back to our WPF? Here you go. Okay, save, and here the console.log is removed, and instead of this product push, copy this, go back here to our application, paste it. Instead of single quote, this is double, because okay, so this one is totally fine. So we now know that at this point everything will work fine. Let's try to see if we are receiving the message. Headphones loaded, search done, yet voila, there we go. We received E, and web JSON message is JSON, and why am I not seeing this in a single page? Okay, message.json as a text. I received it. Now this is the data that I have scrapped. I need to still process it. I'm going to test something else. Instead of stringifying it, because the message itself is what, let's do a control D and let's comment it out. Message itself is web message JSON, right? So I am assuming that if we give the product array directly, it should make it as a JSON by itself. Laptop, search for laptop, process it, send me the message, E message as a JSON. Now this is a JSON because it is returning me a JSON of 60 items. Perfect. So now I received a JSON. Now what I do, without doing any kind of processing, like there are a couple of things that we can do. Maybe we can take this application in the WPF itself, we can display the values, we can add a data grid, blah 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 blah, but let us not do that. Let us not complicate ourselves here, but instead let us add something called as a small string. Here is it, properties string results, and call it as results, and this results take to our main window, and where are we? Here, after the stack panel is done, let's put it inside a, why do we need to put it inside again? After the button, let's add a text block. Text is equal to binding to this notify and source update is true, update source property changed, and here we'll do something. Margin is 0,10 and height, okay, that's the reason why we need to put it inside a grid.row definitions. What I'm trying to do is my window should height is auto. You will see what I mean. Here instead of giving the height, if I give background color is yellow, I need it to be fully taking the place. Where is my properties? Properties is here. Properties, color, background, let it be like this, and this one let's cut it out and put it here. Grid.row is equal to 1, and height of the first one is auto, second one is not auto. So this is the height of my element. So now height is done, and next step, the results will also be updated, that is true. And in the main window, each time when you execute the search button, like execute strap, not only this, you also need to do results is equal to string.empty. So the previous results should be cleared up, and after this state, whenever you receive the result, results is equal to e.webMessage as JSON. So just show me the JSON value. Perfect. headphone, and word wrap should be there. Let us close this and fine tune it so that we are going to display or see how it looks. And text wrapping is equal to wrap with overflow, and there we go. And this one, let us put it inside a, instead of this, let us put it inside a scroll viewer, right? Scroll viewer, and put it inside scroll viewer and grid it at row. I think it will not work, but let's see. Okay, works. Okay, so we managed to receive the data. This is a JSON, and this is fine. Now the next step is we also need to implement one more step, which is after our navigation itself is done, like after we received the message from the JSON, we need to close the browser dot we need to execute one more. We need to close that, right? That is also a script. Like we will close the tab, which will close the window directly. But how do we do that? Instead of closing the tab, so the query is window dot close, which means execute this and close the window. And finally the scrapper, we are having it as a scrapper here, right? So this one, instead of scrapper, we will call it as a scrap window, and call scrapper. Scrapper, and we will close the scrapper. So scrapper dot dialog result is equal to true. When you set the dialog result as true, the show dialog will close directly and it will return you to your application. Let's close, restart it, and see how it looks. This time remove all breakpoints. There are no breakpoints. Get me all the headphone data. Search, select, search, return. Okay. Get me all the laptop. Open, search, select, close. Perfect. Now we still did not execute moving to the next page. That we will do shortly, but before that, we'll go back to our application now. So here, once we receive the result, we still need to do navigation. That we will do, but currently what we can try to do is we will try to save this value to a file, because that's the final step that we need. So we will call or add a button here after the scrap itself is complete. We will add a small button and say export, and this one we will put it inside a stack panel with here orientation is horizontal, and horizontal alignment is center, and let's have a margin of 5,0. Let's remove the command. Currently we don't have a command for export. Okay, we will come back to this shortly or at a later time, but next step is after you fetch the product and you received the message in the first page, you received the message here, do not close it, but we want to close it at the final stage. So currently keep it like this, and instead of adding it as results, you add it as results page. Let's go here, let's add a local dictionary, and let's say dictionary of number I'm coming double and string. So page results is equal to new dictionary. Okay, so page results and we need to do one more thing. When you are processing this fetch products, you have you don't have the page, you are only processing all the elements. That is totally fine. So we will do one more thing, and we still did not put this inside a function fetch internal copy everything, put it inside, okay. So far this is fine. We were trying to do something else, which is the main window, page results. So we don't know the value exactly, what will be the current page. However, here page results dot add, we will just say first one is page 1 for time being, e dot web message json. So this is my value. Comment it out again. Now what happens is we need a current page value here, and current page should be, let's call the current page as integer current page, and this one instead of double we can call it as integer again here. And current page we should always start with 1. So here current page is equal to 1. Whenever you implement whenever you execute scrap and you receive this message, start with current page. And before that we also need to clean up, so we will just say void cleanup. So for each new search, cleanup. Not only this, we will also say dictionary, which is nothing but your page results is equal to new dictionary cleanup. So every time you go, this is cleaned up, and page results is here. Where are we? Okay, current page is done, and after the current page is done, current page plus plus. So you increase one more page, and after the page value is increased, you set something else. You need to set search state to navigator, but you know what, we will remove the navigate state at all. Anyhow, we will not come back to navigation complete again. When the message is received and page results are added, we will call navigate next page. So this navigate next page, we generate a method, and here we do the same search product query, something like this. So here the query is, instead of search bar results array results image, we call this next button, and this next button we already know that this is an A, right? So you cannot directly call so window dot location equals dot inner, it's a href because it's an EA, so it will be giving me a href, and that will be my Windows location. And after the Windows location is changed, okay, so what happens, it will load it again. When it loads again, then the navigation will complete and it will come here and fetch product, and it will go inside and it will fetch a product, and it will try to execute this script, return the results to message received, and this will add it to the results page, and again it will navigate. So at the end of this, we will have a dictionary with multiple pages until we reach the last page. Now let's try this. This is the first time we are going to try continuous execution. So let's add a breakpoint first to see whether it is working or not, and then we can execute it. Simple laptop scrap page 1 laptop navigate page. So now here we have page 1, page 0 basically. Page 0, how it is page 0? It's not possible. Page 0. Why it is page 0? Current page is 1, right? Why it's page 0? Okay, here 0 in the sense, what do you call it? 0 in the sense it is first item. When you go here, no, key itself is 0. How stupid it could be? Okay, let's try again. Navigate to next page and come to page results 1. Somewhere something is happening and our current page value is 0, and cleanup is not working. So close this. We wrote a very good method, but we are not calling that method. Clean it up, and then we run it. So now that's fine. So we will do one thing. We don't know how many pages are there. We can limit the number of pages if needed, but that will be the next step. Headphones scrap. So search for headphones, scrap the data, page 1, move to next page, scrap the data, page 2. Now let's remove this. Move to page 3, page 4, page 5, 6. You could see here the web address you enter is not functioning on our site. There is some issue. At some point we reached a particular stage where we ended up with an error message. So if the value that we receive is null, we should not process it. So it is giving us 7 pages and it's not going beyond the page 7. So we will check if the value is null, we don't go to the next page at all. So if e.webmessage.json, this is basically JSON, right? JSON array. So we'll using system.text.json and say JSON object.parse this web message as JSON. So I am trying to parse this message to an object, J object, and if J object dot count length, there should be something. So here we know that it is going to be an array. If J object is JSON array, if not JSON array, then it is not the message that we are looking for, then return. And if this is a JSON array, which is J array, if this is not a JSON array, return, or else if this is a JSON array and JSON array dot count is less than 1, return. Whatever is the case, return. If, let's cut this from here and put it inside. So this is fine. Instead of returning, we will do one thing. We will do lot of things, but we will before we return, show the message in results. Okay, let's try this first. First, we will receive a laptop. What's happening? Maybe it is very fast and application is not taking the page. 48 results, 1 to 48. So here we got this J object, which is an array. So what we will do, we will put something inside and run. Page 2, 97 to 144, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 6. After 6 we are done. After 6 nothing is happening, and our array is 0. We received 7 pages, basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages we received, and in all 7 pages we managed to receive so much data. Okay, so after this something is wrong. We don't know what is wrong. Let's go to the application at the current stage and write window.location. Amazon AE undefined. Okay, so something is wrong. We will do one thing. When you press this next page, where is the next page? When you execute the next, I am not able to find my next navigation. Complete, search product, fetch project is fine. This one, the next button after page 6 is not working. That's what it says. After page 6, the next page is not working, which means this is undefined. The href is undefined. So if let's say let new location is equals this one, and if new location is not null, then not null, then window.location equals new location. That's fine. So let's move everything little bit right, and this right. Okay. So what we are doing, we are just getting this one. If it is only if it is true, we are executing it, or else we are not executing anything, and the page will reach there and it will not return any results. Will it not return any results? If it is not there, then what we need to do, what will happen if this is not there? Nothing will happen. The page will just stop wherever it is and it will look as is. So we will just check this one now. I need to search something because it was showing me so much results, almost 1 lakh results, 100,000 results. See, 10,000 results for laptop, but why it's stopping at page 7? 192, 240, 288, 306, and the page stopped, which means at this stage the page stopped. Let's go down. The next is deactivated, which means Amazon is lying to us. You don't have 10,000 results. You have only 306 results. They just say that they have 10,000. Okay, that's fine. So the page beyond the 7 is not working. So that's the reason why our application was failing there. So this is totally well. And after we reach this point, there is nothing else to do, and the new location is null. We still need to send a message back to our application and say that, hey, we are at the end of the page, so you need to display the result back to the user. So this one, we will use the same method like fetch products, but instead of saying this one, if the new location is not null, we do this, else we send a message back and say, now this is not a message, a normal message, we are going to say true or false. Let's keep it very simple, true, which or maybe false. What we are trying to say is we are trying to send a boolean object. So go back to my message received. Before we do anything, if e dot web message as JSON, whether is it a string, okay, if bool dot try parse this value and out variable if bool is able to try parse and also not res, which means res is negative, then we reached the end. So results equals the dictionary page results, right? Page results, where are we? Here, page results dot values dot toString, and then don't do anything, just return. Instead of return, we already have this close method. Close this and close me as well. Close this and close me like this. Perfect. So now what will happen when the application has reached the end of laptop? It will open up, search the pages, and this is having some issue here, that's okay. So we managed to reach at this point. Our application should be fine, but instead of showing the values as toString, we need to come up with better option now. This is also. So we will do one thing, we'll call a new method, and this method will give me a string and parse results, and call this parse results. Parse results. You don't need to wait for this, you can close the window and then you can execute parse results. What we will do, return. Okay, so what we do, we need to send, need to return something. We already know that the values are added in the page results dictionary, so let us try to start from there. So first, finally what we need is, we need a list of string. Let's call it as CSV result, new list of string, and finally what we will do, we will return this string dot join, whatever we receive from this one, we will separate it with a new line, environment dot new line and CSV result. So this string, we will return it with a new line. So each value should be in a single line. That's what we need. In between, for each item, or let's call it as instead of item, let's call it as for each result in page results dot values. So we are parsing through the values. Instead of page number, we are parsing through the values. What we do, we create a JSON array dot parse. We know that this is a JSON array, so let's do the JSON array parse, and this will give me a JSON array. And again we need to loop into each what do you call this, each product, for each product in JSON array dot results. So what does it say? JSON array dot parse will give me a JSON node, but since I know that it is a JSON array, I will, it says that it is a possible null literal. So we can do one thing. If JSON array and result array is equals JSON array dot parse result as JSON array. So if it is it could be positive. So if result array is null, then continue to the next result. Okay, so now for each product in this result array, whatever result we have received, we have multiple results. Or instead of result array, we can say page. For each page, JSON array is page result. For each page result, this makes more sense. For each product in page result, a product is what? Again a JSON node which will contain some value. So at this point I will put a breakpoint to see what is the kind of object that we receive. I know that it is a JSON object, but still laptop. So page 1, page 2, page 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is an object. So object, you can put 0, 1, 2, but we don't know what is that. So like maybe tomorrow it will increase also. So again we will do a for each product. You need to, if this product, let's say JSON object product object is equals product as product, come on, product as JSON object. You can do something like that, or dot as object also is possible as object. If product object is null, continue. And the product object will contain so many properties. Product prop. For each product prop in the product object, now we have finally reached the value. So let's say variable, and no, not variable here. Before this, let's create a string called as CSV row equals string dot empty. Now what we do, CSV row plus equals, which means add to the existing value product prop, the property dot value dot toString. So whatever is the value, just add it, and what we need to join it with what? Semicolon. So let's say 3 semicolons, so that maybe the product itself might contain a semicolon. Just to be sure, we add a triple semicolon. And after this value is done, and after you prepare the CSV row, result dot add CSV row. So when this is done, you should be receiving this value. If there are no errors, it should work fine now. Let's try for laptop. We are at page 7 now, and finally there we go. Let me maximize this to see what we have. First is an image, and then triple semicolon and the title, triple semicolon and the price, and finally one more triple semicolon to end this. So that works. We have received so many results. Perfect. So now we don't need to show this into our text block. We are showing some results in the text block, but it is not mandatory. Like if the page values are more, then what happens, our application will be hanging. So to save that issue, whenever this results are whenever this processing of parse results is done, we will make this parse results as a boolean, maybe, yeah, as a boolean, and inside the parse results we will give an out and result, out string result, and this result by default it should be result is equal to string.empty, but when you reach this point, result equals this one, and error, result equals error. Perfect. What does it say? It does not return the value, right? Like if this is successful, return true. If this is failed, return false. Okay, so now this is a, we can call it as, instead of parse results, try parse results. If this is successful, if try parse results, if not try parse results, out variable CSV res, if not try parse result, results is equal to failed, else results is equal to failed, and also return the page out. Don't process it any further. Return, or else results equals come on, success plus environment.new line plus CSV res dot substring 0 comma, just show me the first 100 lines plus show me the dot. So I know that something is happening. Maybe like just show me the first 200 lines, and then what happens here, maybe 100 is more than enough. Then what happens here, this message we need to store somewhere. So I will add here string last run result. Now the string last run result will be our CSV result. So where are we in the message here? Instead of a variable, let's put it as last run result, and whenever you execute it for the first time, here in the cleanup, last run result should also be cleaned up, because you should not be having the last run result. Now what we do, one more thing, we will let us do a cleanup so that active document gets cleaned up properly. Now here I will add one more command. Now this command I will call it as save as CSV and command save, and generate a method called command save, and close it here, save. And now what we do, whenever we reach this point, save the last run result. If last run result is not null, string dot is null, right space. If it is null, then return, or else in the same application, wherever your application is running, okay, again that is another big issue. Get the directory. So our directory should be assembly dot executing assembly, whichever is executing, and assembly name, right, and name, full name is a string, get name is an assembly name, dot code base, and this code base will create a URI, new URI with this code base dot local path. Now this local path will give me the exe name, which will be Amazon scripting, so I don't need that, where exe name equals this one, and path dot get directory name of exe name, and this one merge with path dot combine whatever is the directory in my base, merge that with results folder, merge that with inside that results folder, merge that with a file name. What is my last search keyword? Whatever is the keyword that we searched, that should be here. So keyword dot csv, comma separated file. So this is my variable file name. Now there is one more thing. This will always remain the same, right? So we don't need to calculate it again and again. So con private string exe name, exe name, if string dot is null or right space exe name, only when this is empty do this. If it is not empty, directly go ahead, get the name, combine it with results and combine it with CSV, and got the file name, file dot write all text, path is file name followed by okay, don't do write all text, because if you do write all text using what happens is you will not be able to edit it or open it, because it will be locked by your Amazon script. Okay, let's just keep it simple at present. Last run result, whatever is the last run result, write all text to this file. Okay, now this is fine, and after this is done, results is equal to results plus, or results plus equals environment dot new line, and just say saved to saved CSV to, let's add at saved CSV to file name. So we saved the 2 here. Okay, I believe this is it. We run the result, we process it. Let's see how it goes. I will search for headphones. So I think page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, everything is page 7. So success, this is the one. Export. Okay, let's see, export is not working for reasons very obvious, and the reason is the command save is not added to your export button. Command is binding. Now when I save this will work. Export, there is an exception, could not find a part of the file. Results, I believe the directory is not available. Okay, so let's do the same. The exe name, private string, instead of exe name, save it as a storage directory. If storage directory, where are you? If storage directory is null, then get a variable like this, and then storage directory equals, get me this 2 from here and close this, and let's not have .exe anymore. And not only there, if directory dot exists, storage directory, if the directory does not exist, then directory dot create directory, storage directory. So only when the directory is not available, create the directory. Now this will be fine. Just merge it here. Fantastic. So now you should not have any issues. And headphone is not lucky for us. Like we have been trying headphone every time, and every time it is throwing exception. I think I will not use a headphone anymore. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and done. Export. Saved CSV to this particular location. I'm not able to select it. Oh my god. Okay, anyhow, this is just a demo video, right? We don't need to save it, but instead I will go to open folder. Now that we have that CSV file, what we will do, we will just open the CSV file in an Excel, and then we will see how we can parse it. But before this, a quick note. By this point, at this point, our web scraping process is completed. We have now scraped the data from the website, and this is already working fine without any issues. We can even go ahead and try for something else like headphone scrap. Now just like how we scrapped for a laptop, now it will scrap for headphone, and when you give export, after the results are processed, it will now export into a new CSV file. Let's see, export. Now this is done. So now we have a headphone, and then we have a laptop. You can go ahead and do whatever you want. Let's say if I want to try mobile, or let's say let's be very specific, Samsung mobile, or okay, Samsung mobile makes sense. We have only very limited number of results. 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow, everything has 7-page results. Export. And then what I will do apart from this, let's try something else. This time I will try children toys. Children toys will give me children toys results. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 7 is there. Okay, so now we managed to export everything. Let us close our application. So at this point, our application web mining has completed. Web scraping has completed. Now what we need is we need to do a new Excel worksheet. I will say web mining. So this one we didn't plan it as a part of this video, but what I will go ahead and try to get CSV from children's toy, import, instead of semicolon, filter it with triple semicolon, and we got 3 rows. Load, close it. So we got it here. Let's close this. So now the final step, what remains is processing it a little bit. Even though you got this image here, this is not sufficient because this is still a link. You can put this and you will be getting the value, but you need to insert this here. So press Alt F11. What we will do, we will add a small script, a quick script in the workbook directly. Insert a procedure and call it as process active sheet images. let's call option strict or option explicit. First step, whatever is the active sheet, you need to get the B colon. Like in an Excel, you can do something like I'm here. I will go to row number maybe 500 or something. I'm going to press my Control Shift and press up button. In my laptop, I am pressing Control Shift up button. I'm sorry, not Control Shift up. I will press Control up. So when I press Control up, it goes to the last non-empty row. This is the way how you will be finding your last non-empty row in Excel. You can place anywhere you want. Press Control and up. It goes to the last non-empty row. So there is a method which you can do that via the code. So first declare last row and last row as integer. Last row equals cells. You need the row, let's say at row 4000 and column 2, which is a B column, dot end. End stands for pressing Control and Excel up dot row. What I am telling here is from the cell 4000 or maybe 1000, let us just say that we have only 1000 results. In the B column, go up from the bottom, like press Control up and get the row number. So once I get the row number, declare last row and current row as integer. For current row equals first row to last row, next current row. So basically we are calling in a loop function here. What we will say, we need to get the file name, right? Declare URL path as string and URL path equals cells, row is current row, in the current row, and column is 2, the current row column get me the value. So this is my URL path. Once I get this URL path, I'm going to insert pictures into the active sheet. Active sheet dot. Now here I'm going to show you something. In the active sheet, go to the active sheet, insert, where is the pictures, online pictures, or no, pictures, this device. You can give the URL here. So basically when you give an URL, that particular URL will be inserted. That's what we are going to do by the VBA code. So this we are going to call, where is it? Okay, we cannot save it because it is a workbook free application. So we need to save as in the same page as an Excel file, save. Now remember again, this is not something that we decided at first. Web scraping is optional. You can learn this or you can use the data and do whatever you want to do. Now active sheet dot pictures dot, because pictures, right, insert URL path, and the moment you insert it, select it as well. So what will happen, you will insert it. When you insert the picture, it will not be inserted into any specific cell. It will be directly inserted into the top left of your Excel sheet, and select it immediately. That's what I'm saying. Now you will have a selection. So whatever you have selected first will be there, the active sheet dot selection, and the selection, what we are going to do, we are going to put a checkpoint here to see how it goes. Invalid use of property. Very good. So let's go press F8, and the last row is now 114, the current sheet. URL path is something. Active sheet dot insert. Basically the image is inserted into the active sheet. Now where is the window? Immediate window. and view watch window. So let us add an expression here, selection. So what we have selected now, we have selected at this point, we have selected some object which has so many properties. It has a creator name, blah 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 blah, and our target is this one, shape range. This is basically a range. We have inserted a shape and it has count 1 basically. Pictures in the sense we will always selection in the sense we will always have multiple selection, right? Currently what we have selected only one item, so whatever is the object in the selection range, get the first child or the first object. Obviously we have only one item, that's what we are going to do. Now good thing about VBA is you can always pull it back and it will still go to the same row. See, now selection dot, where is this, shape range, right? Selection dot shape range, shape range, the shape range item 1, I believe. Now this one, the selection is there, we will just see whether it is possible. Currently if you select it, it is giving you a it will give you a particular shape object, and this one, this is a type of a shape, right? So declare a new shape, declare target as shape and move everything back. Let's just stop this one and delete this image. And before we begin, first let us clear the sheet, active sheet dot selection dot clear. I actually added active sheet dot selection dot clear the selection first and then insert the picture and select it immediately. And now set the target as this one. So by now if we reach this point, it should be totally fine. Let's check the F8 object does not support this property. Okay, this is a method, right? So let's try again. Selection does not have clear. We'll do one thing, maybe selection is separate, not an active sheet one. Save this and clear F8. Okay, selection is cleared, and then we insert and select that, and we also received the target. Now what we need to do, we need to the way how we can do this is the target, you cannot insert it into a cell, but what we can do, you can fetch a particular cell and then the target top and left you can set with regards to your cell value. So you need something else called declare target cell as range. Now target cell equals cells in the current row, whichever row we are, the column, you are getting the value from column 2. So the previous column where we have added the value, the C# practice, I'm not able to forget. So no colon here, target cell. So target cell is now a range. What we need to do with the target. So end with there is a method here which usually we will have break, right? In C#, here there is no break. Go next. What I will say, if target is equal to nothing, is nothing, then go to go next. So if target is nothing, then just skip the process and go to the next row. So that's what we are saying here. And you can add a couple of I forget how we add the how do you do it? I think a triple star. I don't remember how we add the comments in VBA. Let's see. Comments is apostrophe. Okay. Loop through all rows, then clear selection and clear selection, insert picture and select it immediately. Now if no image, then skip to next row. Okay, so now with this target, the first and foremost thing that we need is dot notation. It is going to be a chain command. Aspect ratio will be there. We were not able to get it right, so we'll do one thing. We'll just delete it and do a debug to see what our target holds. So object does not support this property. Why? Maybe there is no selection, so we'll do one thing. We'll put it here, selection.clear. Okay, so now let's try target. So let's check this target. Target contains so many values. And there is a property here called lock aspect ratio, which is true. So which means that the image aspect ratio will be locked. So if you do this, now the image aspect ratio is not locked, but we need the same aspect ratio. So that is there. If it is false, then it will not be a proper. So let it be there. Perfect. So next thing is we need to adjust the height and width based upon the target cell. So width target and width target, if target dot width is greater than target cell dot width, then width is equal to target cell. Now this is not something new. There are a lot of examples like this online. 2/3 of your width. Now we will do the same for length. Anyhow, if width is adjusted and with aspect ratio also in place, you will not even have this problem. And after this is done, now what you need to do is it contains a top value which should be the target cells dot top, and left value is equal to target cell dot left. Let us just keep it at present and see how it looks, and then we can proceed further. So we got it. Object variable with width block not set. I think we set it already. Let's stop this one, save it, and end width is also fine. We will move it right. So if width is greater than the cell target, we are having it. If target is nothing, we are going to the next step. We will clear the selection. We'll also set target as nothing. So we'll clear the selection and we'll clear the target. Let's try once more to see if we are hitting some error. And object variable or width block variable not set. Oh my goodness, it's my mistake. The width is not length, my friends, it is height. I made a mistake. There is nothing called as width, there is only height. Now these kind of mistakes happen frequently. No, the answer is very obvious, right? It says that we are not setting the value, so just call it set. That's it. When you call set, it should set the value, right? Huh, how stupid it can be. So our size is now minimized, and what we need is to stop this one, and it is going exactly to the corner, right? So this one top should be equal to target cell dot top, and the left should be equal to target cell dot left, and this one will keep it exactly at the top, right? We need this to be set in the center. So obviously when you get 2/3, the height of the target will be little bit width of the target will be little bit smaller than the width of the cell, so there will be some gap. We need to get the gap value, divide by 2 and push it so that it will be on the center. So actual target cell dot width minus width, which will give me the gap value divided by 2. So from the left side give half the gap, and from right side give me half the gap. Width is for left side and height is for top side. So give me this. So now if this works fine, okay. Again selection.clear doesn't work, so what to do? This is active sheet dot selection, active sheet dot selection dot clear. Let's try it. Maybe this will work, maybe this will not work, but then again we can try. Object does not support this property. I just went ahead, saw something. So what we need to do, active sheet dot cells 1, 1, select some different cell, and then cut copy mode is false. When you do this, the application will clear the selection, and before we begin this one, you enable the cut copy mode. So enable selection, disable selection, so enable selection and disable selection, and there we go. Totally everything is fine. And there is one more interesting thing. When you are running a long running operation like this, you don't want to see every single image getting added. It will take long time. So if you want to save, you can do two things. So application that screen updating is false, which means it will not update on the screen and you will not see the results. And after everything is done, you can say update the screen. This is one step. Okay, not here. Before the loop, you just say don't update my screen, and after the selection is done, update my screen. But we will not do this now. We will just comment it out and we'll use without it to see how it looks. There is one more thing, application.calculate mode, right? Calculation is equal to manual. What happens is whenever you insert it is an Excel, right? It is as Excel which will usually do a lot of calculations. You insert a value or anything, it will try to calculate if something else is getting affected, which will be a time consuming process. To avoid that, you can always say don't calculate anything, and by the time the application is complete, say Excel calculation automatic. So don't calculate anything automatically, but when I say calculate it automatically. So let's try this. Remove. Let me delete this picture. Run the active sheet. There is something going on. Let me press escape. Don't do this. And some mistake has happened. I think we disabled this one, but still without the calculation it doesn't work, it seems. I wanted to see all the pictures, see how the pictures are getting added one by one. Okay, let's try now, and I will close this one, save it, and view macros, run this one on current page. Nope, looks like regardless of whatever I put, my screen value is not getting updated. But I specifically said screen updating is true. Let's wait until it is processed. There are 170 results, so it's obviously going to take time. So to save that, we will press escape at any point to see how it is happening. So there we go. We managed to get 48 images. Now let's do the same in this page and say macros, run this on this active sheet, run for some time, press escape. Okay, so there we go. I got my headphones here, not everything. Maybe here we will run it for a little more time. 1, 2, 3. Escape. Okay, so I got my different images. You see, even though it is an we put laptop, it also processes so many different images for all these items. Let's say this headphone price is 99 dirhams. It is a wireless set. Okay, here there is one more thing. Let's select everything and say these ones do a word wrap. Save. So there we go. And now we will do the same for our run. Press escape. Why escape is not working? Let me press multiple time. Okay, so we searched for Samsung. This is it contains the name Samsung, but it is actually not Samsung. And we have something here, Samsung Mobile, Samsung Galaxy, and that's it. Web mining is also done now. So I hope this video gave some basic idea about web scraping and web mining. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll meet in another video. Thank you.